I mentioned in the previous video I was going to do a Redneck build here using a spare SRNE ASP inverter, just using it as a charge controller. And I mentioned it on the forums I was going to mount on a cart, and somebody asked, hey, would you show how you're going to do that? So I said, all right, I will. So as you can see, the top is just held with some Unistrut. I used some U-bolts on it, and that worked out really well. And I always use the flat pieces there. The bottom has a Unistrut holding it there. On my ground wire, I ran it with my PV and I just tied it on over here in the AC input. I had to snake it on up in here, but I got it in here. PV comes in here through MC, and on the ground wire, I have a grounding bus bar out in my junction panel outside, and I'll show that later. And I just hooked into that grounding bus bar and ran that wire with my PV wire, okay? I had a spare IMO laying around, and so I just used it here. Put a MC90 on the bottom and ran it on up through there. Lined that all up. The brackets actually were on the IMO. That's how I always mounted them. Just kind of by luck, lined that all up and made it all fit. Used a piece of 3/4 inch conduit, short piece. And I got everything all hooked up. I'm getting ready to put my cover back on. Red cable there. This goes over the midnight breaker. And the black cable, of course, is your negative. Okay. On the side here, I just bent up a sheet metal bracket, bent a 90 on the end. That way, it has some strength there to it. Just cut a rectangular hole in it, mounted a midnight 250 amp breaker on there. I didn't have any more Class T's left, so I'm like, hey, I got this laying around. I'm going to use it. Of course, it's a redneck build. That's what we're doing. I just went over to the wood pile and had some pieces of plywood laying around. Just quick use those, and that way I had something, to mount to here. The IMO bracket's basically just bolted through on the back side. Same thing on the bottom, just ran it. It's just bolted on the back side, it worked out really well. So, like I said, just a cheap cart, and just zip tied the PV MC cable on there. Make sure my battery cables and my MC cable are long enough so I can move it out of the way here when I'm working on my inverters. Most likely in the end, I will hook up the AC output over to my breaker panel when I go to pull my LV6548s out of here, and this inverter then will power my house. And I might leave this on the cart. I haven't decided yet. I can power it off my golf cart, and it does fit nice on the back. So I was kind of like, well, maybe I'll just leave it on there and stick it in the shed. And then if I decide I need power somewhere, I can throw it on there quick, and I can run it off the golf cart battery. So anyway, this is the front side, and I'll show the back side next. So the cart itself, I think, is just a cheapie from Menards. Basically, I just ran my Unistrut here, and as you can see, it tapers down here, and it actually worked out nice because then it won't slide on down on my Unistrut. And the bottom here, I just used the bolt holes on the inverter and just ran a unit bolt through it, but I just cut the side off, made a J-bolt out of it, and of course used another piece of Unistrut. Use Unistrut to hold my two pieces of wood in. I just tied my cables on up, and I got my midnight breaker here. I had a little short piece of red 2-aught, and I used that from the inverter to the breaker, and all I had left was some 2-aught and all black, so I just put red heat shrink on the end. That's all you got on hand, and of course this is a redneck build, so use it and just mark the end red and run it. On the other end here, I did have a couple covers left over, so I used them. So, worked out good. They were covered nice, and that worked out just fine. So the reason I'm tying into my links here is because this way, when I feed power in, it'll be ahead of my shunt when I'm feeding into my batteries, and that way it keeps my state of charge accurate, plus also my watts going in accurate. So what we got here on the house is a Weaver box here, and then to mount it, I just use a standoff here. This side, and what you do is you get your hole drill, put some caulk in there, and then these were some standoffs I got off of Amazon. Same thing at the top. I got 3M IMOs mounted, and this string here I don't have hooked up. These are the two I just hooked up. So inside here we got 5 SPDs. These two strings here are from my array up behind my shop. Those are the original ones for the house array. And then these three here are the new ones for the latest array, and I'm pulling off of two of them. Pretty simple, just using a bus bar. And of course, I had them all lined up, and then I had to add one more. And of course, I said, whatever, I'm not moving them all. So, three-piece conduit, just run an LB on into the house. Of course, you got your expansion joints there, and yeah, it was a lot of work getting this all done, but yep, it turned out really nice. So, pretty happy. Hopefully this box don't rust like the other ones, but we shall see. So I hope you enjoyed that quick video there showing that build. Yeah, nothing special, but somebody wanted to see it and share ideas, so whatever. Yeah, they were talking about mounting ABP inverter, and I'm like, well, you need an awful tall cart, and this one's not overly tall, but and yeah, it was kind of what I did is lay it down on its back, it made it a lot easier to hook everything all up. So anyway, it'll provide temporary power while I'm swapping out inverters, and I noticed here when I switched it on, basically I had about 2,000 watts going right into my battery, and I was only getting about 300 watts before that. So yeah, this is a good addition, and I have one more string yet to hook up. So once I get that array fully operational and get the inverters all swapped out, I mean, I'll have, what is it, about 15,000 watts there for the house array. So yeah, that'll be pretty good. I think that'll work out really well. So until next time, catch some rays, and we'll see you later.